Hello and welcome. Tonight, at least 20 people rescued, 8 bodies recovered from the tragic boat mishap along the Dembo-Ebuchi section of River Niger in Niger State. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, described President Bola Tinubu's visit to France as highly successful. Nigeria Labour Congress rules out possible nationwide industrial action over the non-implementation of the new minimum wage by some states. And rebel forces opposed to President Bashar al-Assad in Syria have taken control of most parts of Aleppo. On sports news tonight, Las Palmas claim a surprise 2-1 victory over La Liga leaders Barcelona, spoiling the Catalan Giants' 125th anniversary celebration. And on business news, Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso signals possible rate cuts in 2025 as inflation is expected to trend lower. The Kaduna State government says it's deeply shocked by the tragic boat accident that occurred in a village near Niger State. The state government extends its heartfelt condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones. The governor, Usman Ododo, has directed the State Emergency Management Agency to provide immediate relief materials to affected families. The Ministry of Health has also been instructed to ensure that survivors receive adequate medical attention. To another incident which has been contained due to the quick response of the Lagos State Fire Service, which successfully put out a fire that broke out at the Ebucheru Market, Lagos Island, in the early hours of today. The blaze, which raged overnight, was prevented from spreading beyond its origin as a result of the swift response of firefighters around the vicinity. While the fire has been extinguished, it resulted in the loss of several properties within the bungalow structures that trade in various tools and kitchenwares. Authorities say an enumeration is going on to determine the estimated value of losses incurred and the exact cause of the fire. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, has described the President's 3-day visit to France as highly successful. The minister, who was part of the delegation, said several agreements were signed and others are being worked on. The governor of Enugu State, Mr. Peter Mba, who was also part of the delegation, said the trip was a significant step towards strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries and opened new opportunities for subnationals like Enugu State. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lasisi, has this report.
President Bola Tinubu and his wife arrive in the Military Museum, Hotel des Invalides, where they are received by the French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife. This marks the start of their 3-day visit to France. The next stop was the Elysee Presidential Palace, where some state governors and ministers were already waiting. President Tinubu then inspects a guard of honor. The meeting proceeds indoors for bilateral discussions and signing of several agreements. The Minister of Foreign Affairs gives an assessment of the visit.
There have been a number of MOUs that have been signed to do with culture, to do with finance, agriculture. On the agricultural front, Mr. President has emphasized the importance of it to his administration, the fact that food security is paramount. There was a business council, the leading captains of industry on the French side, along with the leading captains of industry on the Nigerian side, also met with the two presidents.
It's a position supported by the governor of Enugu State, who counts the benefits of the trip for subnationals.
It is also an opportunity for subnationals like us to explore trade opportunities and indeed also investment opportunities. We do have the presence of the French DFI already in Enugu. The AFD, as you may already know, has is injected some money to help us expand our network in our urban water scheme. And so we're working with them also to look at other areas that they can intervene. And so this is also beyond an exploratory visit. It's also an opportunity for us to consolidate on some of those deals.
President Tinubu has praised President Macron for his interest in Africa, stating his belief that the goodwill between both countries will lead to stronger bilateral ties and greater economic benefits. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Back home, the former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has called for collaboration between the professional mediator bodies and public sector to make mediation of cases accessible for the less privileged. Professor Osinbajo also advocated for the adoption of professional mediation as the mechanism for addressing disputes and conflicts. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, reports that the former vice president spoke virtually at the Alternative Dispute Conference aimed at fostering stronger mediation in the country.
Many schools of thought believe that alternative dispute resolution remains a reliable approach to easing the burden on Nigerian courts. To make this happen, the Governing Council of the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, ICMC, is hosting its annual conference to equip members with the skills to become peace builders and leverage mediation as a tool for resolving conflicts, including those between communities.
Important mediation conference.
Former Nigerian Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, participates virtually.
Distinguished and noble panelists.
Participants acknowledge the significant contributions of professional mediators to fostering peaceful coexistence in Nigeria and beyond. They express optimism that the discussion at the conference will generate new strategies to promote global peace.
Africa, Nigeria, is better because of the great and magnificent strides of professional mediators in promoting peaceful coexistence and effective justice delivery system. Mediation continues to play a key role, as can be seen in some current and ongoing global conflicts across the world. In order to meet the demands of a turbulent world, we must adapt our mediation strategies in several ways.
Speaking virtually, Professor Yemi Osinbajo advocates for collaboration between the Institute and the public sector to ensure that underprivileged individuals in need of mediation services can access them.
In the search for more affordable mediation, we must work with the public sector. Access to mediation by a citizen should be guaranteed. A few years ago, as Attorney General of Lagos State, we established mediation centers as part of our Citizens' Rights Department. The objective was to make mediation services accessible to all, especially for small claims.
As the ADR conference concludes, participants are confident that embracing innovative mediation strategies will contribute significantly to building a peaceful and equitable world. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, has been speaking on how the power of prayers and his intervention prevented former President Olusegun Obasanjo from being executed by former military leader, General Sani Abacha. In his remarks at the Plateau Unity Christmas Carol and Praise Festival in Jos, the state capital, General Gowon recalls how his wife went to deliver a letter to the former military leader to intervene and avert the execution of Chief Obasanjo.
I want to sort of bring one story that we probably need to know. At that time, we were in Nigeria when the sentence was being done to General Obasanjo. And honestly, I feel so bad about it. The thing should not happen. Such a thing should not happen. Certainly, it must not be. And so, I wrote a letter pleading with him. Please, God has put you there at that time, but do not go to the extent of doing what you wanted to do. And I had to send my wife with a letter to General Sani Abacha in the middle of night, and she came to Abuja to deliver the letter that such a thing should not happen. I'm glad that soon after that, things changed. And not only that, he left prison and, of course, became our head of state. Now, it is something which only God, through prayers and sincerity, and I thank God that in the end, what happened is really that today we are here together to celebrate Jesus and to thank God for what he has done.
To politics now. The Tony Okocha-led group of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State has absolved the FCT Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, of any involvement in the suit seeking to stop the allocation of funds to the local government councils in Rivers State. During a media parley in Port Harcourt today, the APC chieftain, Mr. Tony Okocha, admitted to deposing to the affidavit seeking to legally stop the allocation of funds to the newly elected chairman due to what he calls a faulty process. Our correspondent Charles Oporum has this report.
This APC compound in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, is agog as delegates from the 23 local government areas gather for their Congress. This Congress is going on despite a court order stopping it and an earlier judgment sacking the party's critical committee led by Tony Okocha. Overseeing the exercise from the party's NWC are the party's national vice chairman, Victor Giadom, and the electoral committee chairman, Dr. O'Malley. Mr. Giadom acknowledges the challenges faced by the party, but assures they will bounce back.
I'm sure that all of you here must have been aware of the challenges, obstacles, impediments that a lot of unseen forces in the state have rendered to our party. But I want to thank all of you for your commitment, your tenacity, and resoluteness to stand by the All Progressive Congress. There is no doubt with the caliber of leaders that are sitting here and those that tendered apologies, our party, the All Progressive Congress, remains the strongest party in Rivers State.
One by one, voice votes are adopted to determine the elections.
Darling Amadi, to be the woman leader of APC Rivers State, say aye. Those who disagree should say nay. The ayes have it. By the powers conferred on me, I wish to declare Darling Amadi duly elected as woman leader APC Rivers State. Congratulations.
In his comments, Mr. Okocha hails this as a new dawn for the party in the state and charges the newly elected officials to get to work.
We are on course. APC is on course in Nigeria. I'm sure that you have noticed, or you have watched, or you have heard what has happened at the Port Harcourt refinery. How many days ago? So these are things of the eyeball that we begin to see, we begin to
total, 36 officials were elected, but the legal battle between the two warring factions is far from over. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, secures agreement with a UK company on advancing cancer treatment in Nigeria. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. At least 20 people rescued, 8 bodies recovered from the tragic boat mishap along the Dembo-Ibuchi section of River Niger in Niger State. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, describes President Bola Tinubu's visit to France as highly successful. Nigeria Labour Congress rules out possible nationwide industrial action over the non-implementation of the new minimum wage by some states. And rebel forces opposed to President Bashar al-Assad in Syria have taken control of most parts of Aleppo. At least 20 persons have been rescued and 8 bodies recovered from the tragic boat incident that occurred along the Dembo-Ibuchi section of River Niger in Niger State. The chairman of Kacha local government area, Mr. Abdullahi Saku, confirmed the figure to Channels Television during an assessment of the area. He adds that the boat was carrying over 200 passengers, mostly artisans and traders, when the accident occurred. This is coming months after a boat mishap in Mokwa local government area on October the 1st.
Water is a major means of transportation in the southern zone of Niger State due to the flow of the river Niger. However, the river has come to be associated with boat crashes, claiming several lives. The latest mishap occurred in the early hours of Friday, November the 29th.
Some people that they are going to Kacha market. So we have many people and many boats that is going to Kacha market. So in one passenger's boat now have accidents with a big hood. So they have enough of people in that boat, and we have many that we lose because the boats have people more than 200 and something. When the boats reach on top of the stick is where the boats have problem, and it bursts from the down to inside of the boat, and a lot of water come in. So the driver now struggle, try and best for some to escape, but as the water already come into the ship and the ship sink, we try ourselves bring some out. Like me, I bring like 3 women, 3 boys, that is 6 people. Then I pack some of their thing. That time no more engine boat to help them. We are just using these hand boats that we are driving with our paddle. That is what we use and help them. But before the engine boat come, we have lost everything. We have lost everything. That is what we do. The one that we saw alive, we took them. The one that dead, then sink under the water. Then the water took them away. Then didn't wear anything and they didn't have any safety like normal clothes, like the way we wear normally. Going to market, going to mosque, church, anything like that. That is how they dressed. So that is what even make them they die a lot.
This incident happened. There is a boat coming from a community in Kaduna State, which happened to be 2 boats, one loaded with people, the other one loaded with loads. On their way coming, they now crash down into a large portion of a tree in the water, which most of these boats coming along with people get capsized.
The remains of one of the victims is buried here, and his belongings, including his national identity card, kept safely for his family. These are the lucky ones from the ill-fated boat crash. Community leaders are profiling them to ascertain the actual number of survivors.
We have gotten up to like, there are some being rescued in Kacha, which are Kacha indigenous, about 13 of them. And the people coming again from the other side are from Kogi. I think there are about 9 that have been rescued. Total, about about 21 or 22 that has been rescued, but the rest out of 200 plus could not be found. Just only, I think, 7 or 8 have been found. They found their corpse, which has been buried according to Islamic rite.
Rescue efforts are still ongoing to recover some of the bodies. Meanwhile, the community is urging the federal government to dredge the Dembo-Ebuchi section of River Niger up to Baru to reduce the incident of boat mishap in the area.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Betunku, has directed the Force Marine officer to lead a comprehensive investigation into the boat mishap to identify contributing factors and develop strategies to prevent similar occurrences on the nation's waterways. The investigation is expected to provide insights into overall safety and emergency response systems for water transportation across the country. The IGP commiserates with the government and people of Kogi State, especially the families affected by the tragedy. He also assured the people of Kogi State and Nigerians at large of the unwavering commitment of the police force in coordinating with relevant agencies to ensure the swift rescue of missing passengers. So the story is now the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, has secured an agreement with a health infrastructure manufacturer, Electa, as part of its National Health Sector Renewal and Investment Initiative. He made this known during a tour of the factory and corporate headquarters in the United Kingdom in order to have more cooperation in health infrastructure investment in Nigeria.
This is in the context of our efforts to accelerate the affordability, availability of quality cancer treatment for all Nigerians as part of Mr. President's renewed hope agenda. With Electa and with other manufacturers of cancer equipment, we're going to work with them closely to ensure that Nigeria gets the best possible deals in terms of cancer treatment equipment. I was very impressed to see the attention to detail, the quality of the product, the range of the products, but also to know that Electa is willing to support us as we try to rebuild the flood-ravaged University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital was devastated, and in particular its cancer center, where the latest cancer treatment equipment that they had was flooded and made unusable, resulting in Nigerians who were on treatment for cancers having to go to Lagos or to Sokoto, and some of them, in fact, going backwards in terms of their cancer care. We now know that within the next couple of months, the cancer center is likely to be back up and serving its clients. So we appreciate that example that Electa is setting, and we call on all those who are supplying equipment to Nigeria also to lean in and work with the government to step up to ensure that Nigeria gets the infrastructure, the equipment that it needs to provide quality treatment for its patients.
The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, is ruling out a possible industrial action over the non-implementation of the new minimum wage by some states. The NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajaero, who spoke at a media roundtable in Abuja, says the Labour leaders are adopting a state-by-state approach to handle the situation, as it will be unfair to embark on a nationwide strike when some states have already complied with the new wage law.
It's the maiden annual roundtable by the Labour Correspondents Association in Abuja, and issues around workers' incentives and how to address the menace of incessant strike by workers were brought to the fore.
There's also the need for us to have a conversation around the need for consistency in terms of social dialogue. Because you see, when the social partners meet and then cross-fertilize ideas, it works around to solve the problems that will have arisen or that would have been a recipe for industrial unrest.
If today President Bola Ahmed Tinubu decides to say, okay, let's put 250,000 as a minimum wage to Nigerian workers, that is not what will solve the problem. But there are basic things that a worker needs. Incentives, allowances.
The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress also speaks on the recent directive to members regarding the withdrawal of services to protect the non-implementation of the new minimum wage.
We gave a directive, of course, it's a policy pronouncement, that if on the social date this does not happen, states, these are things you are supposed to do. We have to look at them one by one, state by state approach. It's not a general strike. It's not a general issue. You can't go on strike on states where they have complied. But we have a committee that is getting daily report on this.
However, the country director for the International Labour Organization speaks on collaborative efforts with the government to end child labour.
And as we are fighting child labour, we've also made intervention where we supported some parents, youth communities by providing them with resources, packages to start their businesses and promote a bit of livelihood.
The relationship between the government and organised labour in Nigeria can best be described as unstable, far from the ideal situation, where consultation and collaboration to ensure fair labour practices, the protection of workers' rights, and contribution to economic stability is the order of the day.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso signals possible rate cuts in 2025 as inflation is expected to trend downwards. That's on Business News. Join us again. Welcome back. The Kaduna State government has held a town hall meeting with residents to discuss the 2025 multi-year budget ahead of its presentation to the State House of Assembly for approval. During the meeting, the governor, Uba Sani, said the 2025 budget will be devoted to the consolidation of the progress made so far in rural transformation through massive infrastructural development, as well as prioritizing education, health, as well as human capital development.
Representatives of the private sector, religious and traditional leaders, civil society organizations, and government officials attend the Kaduna State Town Hall. It's an annual exercise by the state government to deepen citizens' participation in governance and ensure transparency in the state's budgeting process. Tagged Budget of Sustaining Rural Transformation and Inclusive Development, the state government is focusing on education, healthcare, infrastructure, and economic development.
We are allocating 26% to education, 60% to health, totally 42%, and that is the human capital development. These are two critical sectors that are really necessary for any society to develop.
Governor Obasani highlights some of the achievements from the 2024 budget.
In the last 18 months, we have embarked on constructing about 700 kilometers of roads, totaling, which covers about 22 local governments put together. We are right now also upgrading, constructing and modeling other 12 general hospitals.
The town hall provides an opportunity for the citizens and stakeholders to engage the government and also make suggestions and clarifications.
The increase in debt service from about 25 billion to 70 billion raises critical concern about physical sustainability. Effort must be intensified to ensure debt obligation do not undermine developmental priorities. Secondly, around health and education, while these sectors receive commendable shares of 26.14% and 16.7% respectively, other challenges such as infrastructural deficits, insufficient personnel, service delivery gaps need strategic intervention.
We are grateful that you have identified problems of Kaduna State, and not only identified them, but you've taken proactive steps towards militating them and dealing with them. An example is the menace of the out-of-school children.
The state government said it will collate the suggestions and opinions from this town hall, mainstream it into the 2025 budget, and present it to the State Assembly in the coming week.
Some company news now. The Golden Penny Semovita Soup Festival has ended with a grand finale in Lagos, celebrating 60 years of heritage and Nigeria's diverse soup culture. From delicious stews to exciting competitions and masterclasses, the event brought foodies together for a memorable experience.
The Independence Garden at the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos Island comes alive in a grand style as the Lagos edition of the Golden Penny Semovita Soup Festival thrills consumers and attendees. The festival, celebrating 60 years of Golden Penny's legacy, showcases Nigeria's rich soup heritage.
Flour Mills has been in existence for well over 64 years now. We were launched in Nigeria just before Nigeria's independence, and we were a strong part of Nigeria's growth story over the last 64 years. So today we continue to try to use every opportunity we get to celebrate both Nigeria's heritage and Golden Penny's food heritage, which is largely about giving the consumer the kind of top quality product that they deserve.
For a brand to stand the test of time, it's important that it connects very much with its consumers. And if you think about it, whether your favorite soup is oha, egusi, or fish pepper soup, whatever it is, you really do want to get the soup's first choice. And Golden Penny Semovita has excellent quality, the moldability, it brings fiber, it brings so much.
All attention is on the brand's iconic Semovita, which is perfectly paired with an array of Nigeria's favorite soups, including okra, egusi, banga, groundnut soup, and eforiru, all served to attendees at no cost. But the day isn't just about food. It's packed with entertainment for all ages. The game zone kept attendees engaged with chess, snooker, and ludo, while kids enjoy face painting and bouncing castles. The Soup Festival Masterclass is also a major hit.
We started this last year with only Lagos, and this year we've gone to 3 main locations like you already mentioned. Next year is going to be bigger than here today. We're going to go to more locations. We're going to bring the joy of Golden Penny to all everyday Nigerians across the geopolitical zones we have in the country.
When I say golden, you say penny. Golden! Golden!
One of the festival's most anticipated highlights is the live cooking competition, and participants from the crowd step up to prepare their signature soups. Golden Penny Semovita Soup Festival leaves a lasting impression, celebrating not just food, but also preserving and promoting Nigeria's rich culinary traditions.
Shell Staff Cooperative Investment and Thrift Society, popularly known as COPLAG, today commissioned its signature housing estate in one of Nigeria's most expensive piece of real estate, Banana Island, Ikoyi, Lagos. Named the Autograph, the housing project is sited on a 12,000 square meters of land and has 68 housing units in all, with a swimming pool, playground area, and some other unique facilities designed to enhance comfort. The management of COPLAG says it's not done yet, as it looks forward to partnering with progressive-minded individuals and organizations to deliver more affordable housing.
This beautiful edifice called the Autograph is a luxurious residential development located on Banana Island Road in Ikoyi, Lagos, southwest Nigeria. The Autograph is a residential housing estate developed by the Shell Staff Cooperative Investment and Thrift Society Limited, popularly known as COPLAG. Apart from the management and staff of COPLAG, the commissioning of the edifice today also attracted government officials, contractors, subscribers, and other partners who were party to the realization of this project.
This project represents not only a significant milestone in our quest to provide well-deserved and comfortable accommodation for our members, but also a testament to our collective vision, dedication, unwavering commitment to progress.
For the regulators of cooperative societies in the country, this initiative by CUPLAG is worthy of emulation, especially when one considers the housing problems are multivarious and requires multidimensional solutions.
The construction of housing estates by CUPLAG Society is a concrete and convincing effort which clearly shows that through the cooperative system, decent and affordable homes can be provided timely and at moderate price.
The high point of the event was the cutting of the ribbon, after which guests were taken on a tour of the property, which consists of 68,000 units and other standard facilities.
We wanted to bring the premium location, premium housing units to our members, because before now we had built over 500 units in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, all over. And we said for us to sign off, it's only proper that we sign off at the peak. And that's why we said, let us coin this project the autograph, because we're on our way out.
Overall, despite all the challenges, we were able to surmount, and today is a historic day that a project of this magnitude in a location, a prime location as Ikoyi in Lagos, is being commissioned.
What you are seeing today is a testament of dedication, hard work, and most especially when people decide to come together to achieve a common goal, and they are strict and focused with it, nothing can stop them.
CUPLAG says it's not done yet, as it reiterates its commitment to partnering with like-minded individuals to provide more affordable housing for its members and other subscribers.
The federal government has been asked to curb inflation and pay attention to the grievances of young people in the country. This call was made at the 16th convocation and conferment of honorary awards at the Ajayi Crowther University in Oyo State. The grand finale of the week-long event ended with a conferment of honorary doctorate degrees to business mogul Modupe Alakija and Mrs. Bola Adams for their contribution to the institution through various interventions. Our correspondent, Bukola Oriwo, has this report.
The traditional procession signals the beginning of the grand finale of the 16th convocation ceremony of Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo. In all, 2,770 graduates were cleared to be awarded various degrees and diplomas, and out of these, 87 of them bagged first-class honors degree, while 77 others also successfully earned their PhDs. It's another occasion to speak truth to power, and the visitor to the institution, Most Reverend Joseph Akifenwa, asks the federal government to re-examine its ways and policies in order to address inflation, growing hunger, and unrest across the country.
We cannot talk about rapidly escalating cost of living without having to call on the federal government to act fast, to stem the tide of unrestrained and galloping inflation that has bedeviled our economy. The astronomical increase in prices of commodities have inflicted severe pains on the vast majority of Nigerians.
In his address, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council of the institution notes that the choices of the honorees of the Doctor of Business Administration was given to deserving personalities who have done a lot for the institution and the Anglican body as a whole.
Barrister Modupe Alakija, who has made significant contribution to business and philanthropy, supporting education, healthcare, and community development. This great edifice, the Faculty of Law, was a donation of Modupe and Folorunso Alakija.
For the Vice Chancellor, this year's convocation is an improvement over that of last year, as more undergraduates and postgraduate students were admitted into various degrees.
Today, we are not just celebrating the remarkable achievements of our graduate students, but also we are celebrating the collective strides that we have made as a university.
It's time to honor some distinguished personalities, and the chairman CEO, Fanfa Oil and Gas, Mr. Modupe Alakija, steps out to receive his award. After that, he speaks about the importance of the award.
Professor Timothy Adebayo and the entire university management. The tireless effort and the leadership ensure that this institution not only imparts academic knowledge, but also shape well-rounded individuals who go on to make a difference in the world.
The honoree, Mr. Modupe Alakija, born on 23rd February 1944 in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, adds that the award will prompt him to do so much more in service to mankind. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
Time to find out what's happening in the world of business. Willie Bong has the details. Thank you, Melinda. The central bank governor, Olayemi Cardoso, has hinted that Nigeria's high interest rates could be reduced soon. Speaking at the CIBN annual dinner in Lagos, he says the move would depend on expected drops in inflation. Cardoso defends this year's rate hikes, which pushed the monetary policy rate to 27.5%, calling them necessary to control inflation and stabilize the economy. He acknowledges a strain on businesses and households, but reassures that the measures are not permanent, signaling relief may be on the horizon.
To tackle the pressing challenge of inflation, the CBN acted decisively by raising the monetary policy rate by 875 basis points to 27.5% in 2024, an essential move to contain inflation and restore stability. To borrow from Winston Churchill's famous perspective, in our world, interest rates are undoubtedly the least desirable tool for combating inflation, except for all the others. I fully recognize the challenges that higher interest rates impose on businesses and families. However, these measures are not intended to be permanent. We are closely monitoring the data, and as inflation shows sustained signs of improvement, something we expect in the near future, we will adjust rates accordingly.
Meanwhile, renowned economic expert Bismarck Riwani forecasts that Nigeria will begin to recover from its toughest economic reforms by 2025. Speaking at the Parthian Economic Discourse held in Lagos, he stresses the need for better policy implementation and institutional reforms. Mr. Riwani points out that while the Naira has the potential to strengthen, its stability depends on effective foreign exchange management. He highlights issues like poorly sequenced policies and weak structural reforms as barriers to progress. Mr. Riwani urges the government to prioritize investment driven by confidence, transparency, and sound policies. He also calls for urgent reforms in power supply and the oil and gas sector to boost economic growth. Let's check in on the stock market. The week's performance. The local bourse closed the week lower as investors reacted negatively to the MPC's interest rate hike. The all-share index fell by 0.33% to 97,507.87 points. Sell pressures on Seplat, GTCO, and MTN Nigeria triggered this loss despite the gain in Lafarge, Oando, and Epian Holdings. On the activity front, The trading volume and value rose by 63.6% and 52.8% week-on-week. Sectoral performance was mixed as the oil and gas, consumer goods, and banking indexes settled lower, while insurance and industrial goods indexes posted gains. Suno Assurances Nigeria topped the gainers chart with a 23.4% increase, while Austin Lars and Company led the decliners for this week. Alden McCall, Ebian Holdings, and Japol Gold were the most actively traded stocks by volume. On the other hand, the NASD unlisted securities market closed positive. The index rose by 0.26%, taking the market cap back to 1.06 trillion naira. Activity levels were mostly positive as volume rose to 6.37 million units, while value traded climbed to 32.97 billion naira. Okitipupa Oil Palm took the lead on the gainers chart, while Afriland Properties recorded the most significant loss for the week. And Double One PLC emerged as a stock investors traded the most by volume during the week. And that's a wrap on business. It's back to Melinda for the rest of the news at 10. On match day 15 in the Nigeria Premier Football League, Bendel Insurance secured a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Plateau United at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, Edo State. Goals from Uche Collins and Kayode Oke gave the Benin Arsenal victory in the keenly contested encounter. Elsewhere, Lobi Stars defeated visiting Kwara United 1-0 at the Lafia City Stadium in Nasarawa State. Peter Ona's goal in the 26th minute was enough to secure maximum points for Lobi Stars. Now to the English Premier League, where Kevin Shade scored a hat-trick as Brentford hammered Leicester City 4-1 at the G-Tech Community Stadium. At Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace and Newcastle settled for a 1-1 draw, while Nottingham Forest defeated Ipswich Town 1-0, courtesy of a goal by Chris Wood. Elsewhere, Bournemouth beat Wolves 4-2 with Dutch forward Justin Kluivert finding the back of the net 3 times from the penalty spot. In the last game of the day, Arsenal defeated West Ham 5-2. Las Palmas claimed a surprise 2-1 victory over La Liga leaders Barcelona today, spoiling the host's 125th anniversary celebration. Sandro Ramirez sent the visitors ahead early in the second half, and although Rafinha hammered home an equalizer, Fabio Silva struck to claim 3 points and take his team up to the 14th. Barcelona still lead champions Real Madrid by 4 points, but Los Blancos, who host Getafe tomorrow, have played 2 fewer games than Hansi Flick's team. The Catalans have now gone 3 league games without a victory after a run of 11 wins in 12 before the top flight. Frank Joe, Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante helped themselves to goals as Al Ittihad cruised to another Saudi Pro League win with a 4-0 thumping over the opponent Al Ettifaq in Adaman. The league leaders opened the scoring in the first half thanks to a composed finish from Kante before Benzema and other players added second-half goals to secure the 3 points. The result heaps more pressure on manager Steve Gerrard, with Al Ettifaq just 3 points outside the relegation zone, having not won in the league matches for 9 times.
Saved, and the follow-up is from Karim Benzema.
On the international scene, rebel forces opposed to President Bashar al-Assad in Syria have taken control of most parts of Aleppo. According to the UK-based monitoring group, Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, more than 300 people, including at least 20 civilians, were killed in the attack, which started on Wednesday. This is the first time rebels fighting the forces of President Assad have reached Aleppo since the army forced them out in 2016. Russia, one of Assad's major allies, launched overnight airstrikes into Aleppo and has pledged extra military assistance to chase out the rebels. The government has closed Aleppo airport as well as all the roads leading to the city, and the Syrian army has been withdrawn from the area. Rescue workers have saved a baby from a flooded house in Yala province of southern Thailand. An older female child was also helped from the house through an upper window. According to the Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, the death toll from the flooding in southern Thailand has risen to at least 9. Meanwhile, over 13,000 people have been evacuated to 200 temporary shelters across southern provinces. Thailand's Meteorological Department has warned of heavy rain, flash floods and waves up to 3 meters high across 9 southern provinces due to strong monsoons. And the main news again. At least 20 people have been rescued today, while 8 bodies were also recovered from the tragic boat mishap along the Dembo-Ebuchi section of River Niger in Niger State. We also told you that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Chuga, has described President Bola Tinubu's visit to France as highly successful. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Kinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.